Angie.
John.
Do you know what? The other day, I was having a bit of a moment and just wondering if the AI is coaching better than I am. I don't know if it was an existential crisis or just Tuesday, but who knows?
Well, I'm going to say this. If AI can coach, can it also roll its eyes at clients who want like the quick fix? Because that's my main skill set. Not really, but you know what I mean.
Absolutely. These human elements. Look, I think we both know that realistically, AI is on coaches' minds, and maybe some of us are comparing ourselves secretly to ChatGPT and the likes, and perhaps
hmm
pretending we're not, but we're a bit worried about where things are going in the coaching industry. I thought it'd be good for us to have a chat about that.
Yeah, I think it's not even just like the coach's perspective. Is it the public's perspective, right? Like, I don't need a coach. I have chat. I have Gemini. I have blah, 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 blah. Fill in the blank. Yikes.
Welcome to the Coaching Clinic with John and Angie.
The show for professional coaches who want to develop their skills and grow their business.
Follow the show on your favorite podcast app.
And join us every Wednesday for new episodes.
I think there's no doubt that people are using AI as a substitute coach, or just as a coach. I have been doing so myself at various points, and I think it's natural that people are going to do that. So, are we competing? Am I doing that instead of working with a human, or just because it's quick and easy? I think there's a lot
Mm.
to it, right?
Well, I listen, okay. Anybody who knows me and has ever listened to me knows that as a coach, I am not, I don't even know what to say. I am so against administrative work, the necessary, minutia. So, AI has changed my life. It has definitely, opened the clouds. I'm out of the dungeon. I feel amazing about that. And I feel like that's where it belongs to a certain degree. Like for me, it's more administrative. Um, Otherwise, I personally do not use it in my practice.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah. I think it's a better guide to things than it is a creator. And I think one problem that I think there is with AI tools, which I think coaches often end up facing as well, is this whole thing of um, a lot of people come to you wanting the fix, wanting the solution, and they want you to give it to them. Chat GPT or whatever will do that. Will try and do that most likely. Whereas a coach is going to help you figure it out for yourself. Unless you actually prompt these things to like help guide me through this process rather than give me the
Yeah.
solution, then it probably is just going to try and solve for you.
Listen, remember Dr. Spock
Dr. Spock or
from,
Mr. Spock?
well, I always called him Duck because he was Dr. Spock, right? But Mr. Spock. Jesus, this is what happens when you partner up with a geek who knows everything about all the things, okay?
Mr.
Then,
Spock was
was it
Star
Dr.
Trek.
McCoy? Well, yes, it was Star Trek reference. Was it Dr. McCoy?
Dr. McCoy, yeah. Dr. Spock
Ah,
was a
see,
baby,
I'm
a
not as
baby
far
doctor.
off the
Yeah, yeah,
mark. Okay, don't
yeah.
bust my chops early in the
All
morning.
right.
Jeez.
I know. I'm a
Anyway,
nerd. What do you
Mr.
expect?
Spock, right? To me, Chat GPT is like Mr. Spock. It's very pragmatic. It has all the answers and it gives you this, solution, but it forgets all of the things in between, right? The human element, and it cannot replace the human element of coaching. I could sit here and give somebody, if somebody said, "Oh, my biggest challenge is avoidance," I could certainly write up, a 20-page, do this, do this, do this, and do this. But what's happening in the middle of the sandwich, you know?
Mm.
So, yeah,
Here's
we're
what
not there.
five top coaches in this area say on this subject. Um, yeah, I
Yeah,
mean
yeah.
it's not always the most helpful thing, but you're going to get some answers for sure, but you might not get properly what you need. And this is something that
hmm
I found with AI tools as well. Like it can definitely help you work through stuff a lot quicker, but we are still limited by the capacity of our own brains. Ultimately, whilst we can use
Ultimately.
ChatGPT, we can only go so far. That we can have it solve all these different various things going on in our lives, or help with solutions and challenges and directions and whatever else, but we can't follow them all. We can't keep track of all of it ourselves because our brains are not computers. We don't work that way. And so we still have to work with the human elements. And maybe AI tools will develop more along that path as things progress. I don't know. But in terms of sort of acting or engaging in a human way with people, it's not there. It's a good tool still, but it's not there. Even though some people, I'm sure some people are having relationships with their AIs and things like that. You're going to hear about it, and people will. But I do think that is more. That is there's other stuff going on there. And is somewhat dissociative. I think there's psychological issues going on there. Most of us are not. We recognize this is a computer. It's not a being.
Remember that movie? Did you ever see that? I don't know where all these references are coming from, but I think it was called Her.
Oh, I never saw it, but, yeah, it was the guy falls in love with an AI, I think, or something like
He
that, yes?
does. And this was, I don't know how long ago. At the time, I remember thinking, ooh, creepy, right? And now there's other movies that are like, oh, I have this new robot in the house and it does everything and it babysits my child. And I'm not saying those things are impossible. Walt Disney, if you went back 1974 or 5 and went to Walt Disney World, everything there was futuristic. Even the computers, look at the Jetsons, right? Press a button, got a pill. We're there. They were teleprompting, zooming long before we actually started to use any of this. So I think you and I would be, professionally inept to think that there aren't going to be, right, more developments to humanize AI as much as possible. Enlisted robotics, right? With surgery and things like that. That's not quite AI, but it's part of the pathway to dehumanize professions, right? To create those challenges. So I would think this. What do you think where do you think AI actually can fit in? I mean, I made some jokes in the beginning, but they weren't really jokes. They were just my opinion. Um, but like, where do you see AI from where you can, right? Everything changes all the time, but from today's perspective, what do you see as an advantage or where does AI fit into a coaching practice?
Um, I think AI at the moment can be a useful tool, but, to bounce your ideas around into. And so I think it's always good to have like sounding boards and stuff. And I don't think it's the only thing we should use as a sounding board, but I think it is a tool that we can use as a thinking tool, a bounce around tool to process the things that are coming up for you, get feedback, pros, cons, insights. What am I missing? AI can to some degree give you a lot of that, and can help you in some of your decision making processes. What we don't really want for it is for it to be making decisions for us. I think we maybe talked about this in sort of early days of coaching kind of thing, the sort of savior complex. If AI tools are generally just trying to solve or give you solutions all the time, then they're disempowering you. They're taking the burden of cognitive processing off of you, which sometimes can be good and sometimes maybe not so much, because we don't want to delegate all of our thought processes to AI tools. I think. I don't think that's a healthy thing. So where it can be good as a tool, as a co-pilot, as a reference, as a structure guide, as a sort of
Right.
feedback. What am I
Organizational things.
organizational?
Absolutely.
What am I missing? Admin tools, especially for people who like I guys are not always good with the practical elements of things. It can help to keep you on track, but it can only help that, and it can't do it for you. What do you think?
I have to tell you what I just did while you were talking, I should say. I went into ChatGPT and
Ooh,
I just put in, can you coach me on my marriage? I just threw it in there. This may or may not make it to the actual what we put out there. And it says,
sorry, Angie, it's beyond
absolutely.
help.
Right. No, you're good. No, no, that, well, not the marriage part. Other things it might be like, get out of here. But, and so it says, absolutely, I can support you with coaching around your marriage. To set this up, this is how I typically approach this kind of work. So here's what I'm going to say. I would say that, for coaches who, okay, we've talked about this. Do we believe in systematic coaching? Do you show up organically and just see where things go? Do you follow a process or a program? I kind of like to do cherry pick whatever is necessary. That's, I think, the beauty of being, your own boss. Um, but I will say this is not going to help me in my marriage, but it does present what's the primary challenge or tension that you're experiencing. So, like you were just saying, to your point, this could be a great way for a coach to deliver a great session, right? If John came to me and said, my husband and I, Angie, we're having some real issues. I don't even know where to start. I might pull this up, right? And say, okay, well now, so John, tell me, like, what do you feel the primary challenge is? Or the tension that you're feeling within your relationship. So now at least it gave me a baseline, because some people don't even know where to start, honestly.
Sure. Sure.
If
But
you
look,
could see
I think
John's face right now, I don't think he's digging what I'm doing, but
no, no,
he's
no, I'm
not picking up what I'm laying down.
thinking about things. Um, here's what I think, and here's my take on this. If I was going to approach ChatGPT for help with my marriage, which to be honest, I wouldn't. That just doesn't feel appropriate to me. What I might do instead, though, is ask it, what are the kinds of questions or points of that a relationship expert or coach or psychologist might work with someone on to help them improve their relationship or to resolve some of the issues in a relationship, and then pull stuff from that. And if you, and again, you can get more specific about what that might look like. I think that might be better to just sort of take away a bit of guidance that could save you time, save you a fortune, and save you a lot of time in reading various textbooks or searching for YouTube videos or whatever else you might spend in just trying to find the places to get started. I would be much more keen to empower myself. I'll share this with you. I'm working on a book, and I'm using AI as a tool to help me edit. I don't want it to create the book. I want it to help me spot what I might be missing, cut stuff that doesn't need to be there, and make it more easier to scan and more readable, but still very much intent on keeping my voice. I don't want the book written for me, but it's a really helpful tool in my editing process. I still generally have to go back and edit after I've let ChatGPT edit. As I say, all right, like this, done like this. It's not a perfect tool, but it is helpful and it's speeding up the process. And that's really asked me how I look at it. Is like it can help you speed certain things up. It can help save you time for searching for stuff or to see some of the blind spots or whatever else, things that you might otherwise not think about or be missing. But I certainly wouldn't want it doing the work for me.
Absolutely. Listen, I think it kind of this is just a smaller perspective, and you have yourself. We've gone through training, right? We've worked for companies where this is our program. You're going to deliver it like session by session in its way. And that's fine, because I think there's great value in that. But even though we were in that kind of environment, how you delivered that, how you responded, that was what made the connection and built
Yeah,
the rapport
nuances.
between yourself and your client. And that is why, you know, people stay with us, they value us. It's really the profession itself has grown in terms of how it's, respect, the respect for it has certainly become much more tangible and observable. So I would say to people, like, if you want to, and you said the word tool, right? If you want to use AI, ChatGPT, or anything else as a tool, then certainly you should do that to enhance what it is you're already doing and capable of doing as a coach. And how you do that, I mean, I think we could go on and for me, it's administrative. It's, cut through the nonsense for me, et cetera, et cetera. Use it in a way that benefits you as an individual. But it is, I'm going to say this. I don't like to speak in the nevers and the always, but I hope in my lifetime, okay, let me say it this way, I don't get to observe coaches being replaced by AI. I'm not saying it's never going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen in 200 years. I have no idea. Maybe we are going to be living like the Jetsons and the Starship Enterprise. I don't have any idea.
But yeah, look at it this way. I think a number of coaching companies, and we can potentially use something like Better Up Coaching as an example, because they are ultimately a tech company, and so it may, and I think they even have projects. I've heard from some of their coaches they have had projects about utilizing coaching sessions to help train AI tools. There is going to be a degree to which AI can be a coaching substitute in certain situations. But
Sure.
here's where maybe it gets a bit more. No, here's where we're going to muddy the waters a little bit. Um, at the moment, AI does have some ethical limitations, but not that many. There are some things that AI tools won't allow you to do. But do they have appropriate coaching boundaries? No. Do they know when to help you empower yourself, or when to just give you the answer? No.
Mhm.
Do they know when to pause and let you think, or sit through an uncomfortable silence? They absolutely do not. Maybe they will get there at some point, but that is not where the technology is right now. And these are some of the reasons why it's just not going to, not going to replace good coaching. There's, you said about a while back about the coach who, oh no, it's one of my friends. So it was about a coach who they ended up somebody coaching their coach. And it's like, all right, cancel these sessions. I'm not supposed to be here as your coach. I'm paying you to coach me. Like those situations you don't want to have, or you don't want somebody who launches into a presentation when you've asked a question. Um, AI will do
Yeah.
those things. It doesn't have those boundaries, those nuances, the social skills. Maybe it
Hmm.
will at some point.
Yeah. Listen, there's so much unknown. And honestly, I'm going to say this. I am excited about it. If you told me even 5 years ago, and AI has been around a lot longer than that, but I think I even made this reference way back. I was, in more of the sales arena in terms of training, coaching, and things. And I remember like sitting down in this room, this company that I was working for had this giant, like all the people are there, presentation. And I remember on the giant screen in this ballroom of a hotel, boom, 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 like crazy intense music and the words, block letters, social media popping up on the screen and going, well, I kind of knew what it was at the time, right? But introducing how it was going to affect the sales arena. And everybody in that room was like, oh, please. I don't remember the year. It was definitely after '05, though. And everybody in that room was like, oh, please, social media is never going to replace us. We're this, we're that. And here we are, let's just even say 20 years later, don't say never, because there are people who are out of jobs because in certain situations, they've been out. Wait, let me make up a word. I'm like going to say technologified, making up a word, right? But you know what? But say maybe like younger people came in and embraced the technology quicker, better, faster, more, and they ran the race. They excelled because they accepted it, they absorbed it. So I think that the way people didn't or resisted social media in certain industries, I think we can't avoid looking at it very seriously, even now as coaches in terms of AI.
Yeah,
If you could see what I
yeah.
could see, I just want to say for the record, John's camera just froze and he just looked like he had this look like he just ate a pickle covered in lemon juice. The way his face froze. It was very, very handsome still, but fun to look at. But so do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
definitely embrace it for what it is and utilize it, because why wouldn't you? But in terms of you know what, let me be sarcastic if I might.
of
If I
course.
might. I mean, hey, am I ever sarcastic? But
It's what we're here
I
for.
think AI can only replace coaches who are fill in the blank. I want to say this. You say it for me, John.
All right. Here's a joke. So just for coaches, it's a bad joke, but it's a joke. Um, w- what what have AI and a bad coach got in common?
I don't know.
Without the right prompt, they'll just tell you what they think you want to hear.
Oh, I love it. That is there you go. And that unfortunately, if that stung a little bit, you probably need to rethink yourself for a minute and what type of coach you are. But I think it's
Right.
hilariously true, right? It's
Yeah.
hilarious. That's a great one.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
not going to make it into my act, but yeah, absolutely, it's
well, it
very
could maybe
very
in a
very
different
true.
way.
If I ever do comedy for coaches, I'll let you know. But
Oh, that's great. You should do that. Gosh.
oh,
Anyway,
maybe I will. Maybe I will. I'll certainly think about it. But there are things I think things that have come up in our chats before that at least at the moment, AI is not going to be able to replace, maybe not ever, in terms of things like holding the space for people, being the sort of facilitator in these sorts of situations, helping you to draw out your thoughts rather than giving
hmm,
you answers or telling you what to think. So there's a number of ways in which I think coaches still have a role to play, and this one came up in a conversation with one of my friends last week of if you are using AI for some kind of coaching and you maybe want productivity coaching and you've set up this program and you set up your check-ins and all this kind of stuff, how accountable do you really feel to an AI than you would to an actual person who you were working with as a coach? You know, so then maybe AI can to take over a level of accountability coaching, but really only,
yeah,
it's like my toothbrush gives me a sad face if I don't brush for 2 whole minutes. Um, it's
that's
like,
great.
yeah,
I love it.
so what? So what? Screw you, toothbrush. It's like, so
Right.
what? It's just a prompt at the end of the day. Whereas if it was a person who was watching me and making sure that I brush for 2 whole minutes every single time, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, depending on who the person is. I think we feel a higher level of accountability and connection with people, certainly than we do with machines or AIs at this time.
Absolutely. And I agree. The key here is at this time, but I would encourage people to think about how how they can utilize AI to better their businesses.
Right.
And me, it's administratively, which I'm not even joking about. I'm being very serious. It has come up with ideas and things that if I had had it sooner, actually would have, probably catapulted my success more quickly because it gets me out of my own way for the things that I'm not great at, that I resist. And even sometimes if I throw an idea in, I'm just like curious. I want to brainstorm. John's not available. We're on, different time zones. When I'm sitting there contemplating my navel, he's asleep. So that doesn't help. But at the end of the day, it really can like get some of the creative juices flowing. So there are benefits to it. I'd love to hear like who is anybody using it, and to what, if you are, to what degree or extent are you utilizing it, and are you seeing success with it? Is it helping, or has it not really been a big help?
Yeah. Last time we talked about AI in any depth, we had a guest with us, and one of the things that was coming up a lot in that episode was about the various tools that we can use to clients to say, all right, here's a tool you can actually go away and work with this. Here's a
Hmm.
GPT I created for you. Go and play with this, which is especially relevant for people who coach in very specific areas. If you're a marketing coach, a business coach, if you're a speaking coach, I mean, you can give people specific tools that they can do some work with that may help to speed up their processes or guide them whilst you're not around to be there for them 24/7, which is definitely a good thing for us and protecting our time.
Right.
But yeah, definitely, how could you bring these things in a way that enhance your offering to your clients rather than replace the stuff about you that isn't really replaceable?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a differentiator there, and you need to be able to discern between that. It's
Cool.
what's on this side and what's on this side. And that's a great way to, I think that's a great way to say that.
Yeah, yeah. Discernment is one of the tools that AI doesn't really have at this time, and that your coach hopefully does. But it's a good word to keep in mind for yourself, for your clients, for the future as you go forward. Um, Discernment is going to be something that makes a big difference. Boundaries are going to make a big difference.
Yeah.
And always thinking about how we're empowering and helping people rather than doing everything for them. We don't want to be, do you remember that film Wally, where people are so lazy they have to be kind of floated around all the time? And
Yes.
yeah, yeah, we don't want to become that. I hope that everything is done
Ugh.
for us, and our whole
Yeah.
life is leisure time and cocktails and burgers and nothing else. It's like that would be so boring and so unchallenging, and yeah, not sure that the world really wants that. We always want growth. We always want development. We always want to improve or better things. I hope, and
You are
so yeah,
throwing me
let's.
on a soapbox. Are you doing this intentionally? Because you know I can go into a whole thing about how like our generation versus like my daughter's generation, they are so much more sedentary. Everything is, pushing buttons and looking at screens. And, then you see everything on social media like, remember the time when, so don't even get me started. We'll talk about that another time. I need to get off. I need to jump off the soapbox. But anyway,
Look, I think this has been a fun and informative chat,
yeah.
and definitely raises some key elements about AI. And we'd love to hear your thoughts and where you're
Yes.
using it, where you're feeling challenged with it. Get in touch with the show. You'll hear from us shortly and how to do that.
Do you have a question for the coaching clinic?
Reach out on LinkedIn to connect with Angie and John.
Leave us a voicemail or video message and we will feature you on the show.
You can also leave up to 90-second voicemail for free on www.speakpipe.com/the Coaching Clinic podcast.
We'd love to hear from you.
See you next time.
Bye for now.